Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Cheers. Start off with a l'chaim.
Yeah, well, clearly we're a 7-hour time difference because I'm drinking wine, you're drinking coffee. I mean, if you were drinking wine during the, midday, I wouldn't judge you.
I usually have 2 coffees, a morning and an afternoon, like a midday. And also, since I listen to a lot of Andrew Huberman, great podcast, he's a neuroscientist. He discussed the whole thing, how drinking coffee and taking like a short nap is super beneficial. So often I do that, except I don't wake up after 20 minutes and I end up sleeping way too long.
By the way, totally. that like power nap situation, like I'm all about the nap these days. Like that's how you know you're getting old.
Yeah.
But I'll try to do it. Like I happen to have done it yesterday, and Mom woke me up. Mom always happens to call me. I rarely am able to take naps. And when I do, she always calls me while I'm in the middle of a nap and then always wakes me up. I literally open up my phone. She's like, oh my God, did I wake you up again? I always wake you up. I'm like, yeah, you do. But I'm like, I had to go to CrossFit. So, because I was planning on taking a 25-minute nap and I was going to go to CrossFit. So, she forced me awake because otherwise I totally would have slept through.
Right. I remember when I was learning in yeshiva in Israel, one of my rabbis would he didn't sleep much, and sometimes in the middle of the day he'd take a power nap on his desk, just put his head down. And I asked him once, and he says, I only sleep for 6 to 9 minutes, never more. And he always just pops up after. So one time I'm like, okay, let me give it a shot. I was exhausted. I put my head down and wake up an hour and 20 minutes later. My face is red from my arm. I feel groggy as anything. I limp out of the room. I'm like, oh my God, I need a shower.
That's the thing also. I've never woken up from a nap and I'm like, damn, I feel refreshed. Right. I never do. And I can still go to sleep easy that night. It's not like I'm staying up late because of it. I'm not gaining refreshments from it.
Right. Did we miss last week? Is this did we record last week? I can't remember.
No, we did record last week.
We did. Last week was with Alana. Okay, I wasn't sure if we had missed a week.
That was 2 weeks ago.
That was 2 weeks ago. Okay, that was 2 weeks ago. That's why, because I'm not remembering the last one. Because I'm all messed up because we went to Chicago for the weekend with the family for a friend's wedding.
That 1 hour time difference must have totally thrown you off
me
whack.
No, because it feels like a long time, and then we just got back last night. We went from Thursday to Monday, so pretty solid.
Did you travel with all the kids?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, how was that?
We were going to leave them here, ended up taking them with. It was not bad. I'll tell you, once you fly to Israel or anywhere that is more than 9 to 11 hours with 3 children, flying 2.5 hours is a cakewalk, especially since you don't have to go through customs. The security is way less. We flew through Newark, and they just completely redid Terminal A, and it's super advanced and cool, and everything's high tech.
Really, in Newark?
The bins at security, so they slide to you underneath the table, and at the end when they come out, they go into a tub that drops them and shoots them back to the beginning. So you don't have to worry about all the bins stacking up.
Yeah, hello, we have that in Israel, and it's also under a UV light, so it kills all bacteria.
Right. And they let you through. And you go through the regular metal detector with children, so you don't have to wait in line for the
Well, you're allowed
scanner.
to this day, you're still allowed to refuse to go in, and you're allowed to request to do the
really?
detector instead. Mm-hmm.
What would be the reason to not want to?
Because with X-rays or whatever it is, some people are whatever. So I'm almost positive. I know it was
some people are probably whatever.
No. Yeah, I'm basically a doctor. Those people who are basically whatever. But you can refuse them. I'm telling you. I know for sure I don't know if it's for sure still. I'm pretty sure, but I know it was definitely before in the past.
It was definitely before in the past.
Yeah.
And afterwards, it
You're
will
welcome.
be in a shell.
This has been a PSA with Shelly T.
Right, but flying with the kids really wasn't that bad. Our seats were next to each other. The kids usually don't cry, and if you give them a tablet or a video to watch or something, they'll just sit through it. So I had a little Tito's and orange juice on the way there. I was feeling good. Took a little nap.
Okay, so that's
a good flight.
Good. Yeah, what airline did you fly?
American.
American Airlines.
They beat you up where we beat our customers.
No, that's United. That's United.
Oh, that was United. That was
yeah.
United.
Don't get twisted.
Sorry,
that was United.
American.
That's why it's even more ironic because the name is called United. Like United we are. United we stand.
Right.
Not
that
much.
was not right.
Not even normal. Mind you, these bitches like charge you for every little thing. Even going international, it's like, oh, you want to go international? Oh, you wanted to bring luggage with you? Oh, okay. Well, that's going to cost you.
Right.
It used to be even like I remember when 2 bags were free domestically. Like then it was still like 2 bags free internationally. Then it went to 1 bag, and now it's like, oh, you wanted bags?
Right. We had to pay an extra $35 to check a bag or whatever it was on top of the tickets, which were already fairly expensive. So it's a little bit. Also, I didn't realize you don't have to. I guess you don't have to bring any form of identification for kids because they packed their passports, but they never asked for it.
I traveled all the time until I was 16 years old with no sort of ID of any kind.
Right. I never thought about that.
Yeah, you just say, "Oh, I'm not 18 or I don't have a driver's license or
I'm
whatever."
not a person.
That was it.
Right.
And it was after 9/11, so it's not like this was before 9/11. I'm not that old.
But yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was a bit of a crazy weekend though, week with everything. First of all, there was another attack in Israel. I heard 2 soldiers, I think, were killed. There's obviously the protests going on. As I saw.
Wait, hold on!
Don't
bring that on me because I live here. Hold on. What 2 soldiers were killed? Like today?
There was an attack in Israel.
Today?
This yesterday. Now I got to confirm.
Oh, it was yesterday?
The first thing that pops up is today's latest from Al Jazeera.
Thank you, Al Jazeera.
I heard about it yesterday. Someone posted about it on.
Yesterday there was an attack. I mean, I was at work and I went to the protest in Tel Aviv, but I didn't know anyone was attacked.
Maybe I just made that up.
I mean, it's very possible.
As a settler attack Palestinians in Huara amid Israeli presence. This was from. This was today. Maybe I made that up, but obviously have the protests in Israel. Bibi finally postponing whatever decision they're going to come to, probably because he's trying his best to not lose his coalition, but he's going to have to make a decision sooner or later as to what to do.
It's so crazy because we just have more important things to deal with, like these apparent terrorist attacks
that I make up. Yeah. I should start my own news fake news media. FNM, the fake news media.
We already have that. It's called Fox News. But this is the first day where there hasn't been crazy protests in 6-7 weeks. It's just so ridiculous. We are dealing with terrorist attack. We are dealing. Okay, thank you for grabbing my foot, Tessa. It's my cat. Just grabbed my foot. We have real issues going on in this country, and it's he's just creating division in this country. It's just it's literally he just reminds me of an Israeli Trump at this point. It's right. Your country already has so many things going on. This is just not the time to be doing this.
But there's no constitution, and whenever you're dealing with a parliamentary government, you're going to feel like you're going to have issues like this. Unless they either switch their government up.
It's just about it's just about being a democratic country. You can't say you're a democracy and then do something like this with the judicial reform. It's you're completely going against everything you believe in, and he's really only doing it just to save his own ass. Because literally, since I moved here 6.5 years ago, the guy's been under investigation and pending jail since. And
he has those 2 guys in his on his coalition, Smetrich and the other one that are on the far right that are probably pushing.
He has a lot more than just 2.
Right, but they hold a lot of seats. But on top of that, you also have here the shooting that happened here in Nashville, which is horrible. I'm assuming you heard about that.
You guys have shootings every freaking day. It's another shooting.
Really
it's
horrifying.
Not even normal.
It's really horrifying. Not even normal. You should have seen. I just heard that the secretary for the governor of I don't know what state I have to find it, but she posted this horrible tweet after the shooting and was immediately fired. And I was literally just reading about it maybe 2 seconds ago. I got to find it now.
Right? Because I want to look up something that I just want to make sure I'm not making this up before I say it.
I got to find it. Otherwise, it's not going to be as good. Yeah, Arizona Governor Hobbs, her press secretary, resigned before she was fired, because after the shooting, she posted a picture. It was from a movie of it was like a GIF of Gina Rowlands in a scene from the movie Gloria, like where she's pointing two guns, and she wrote, "Us when we see transphobes," as if like we should just be gunning down people that are transphobic. Whether or not some people were saying she was taking shots at Republicans, I mean, to group a bunch of people like that together is ridiculous. But even if you're talking about like actual transphobes,
right? That's what I was saying. Like
people
Laura Ingraham, like she was blaming, like as if like this is like due to like transgender movement and drugs, and this is what caused the shooting and everything. Like,
right? I don't really understand why. Like, I understand when I identify the shooter, but like, I don't really care what her like identity was. Yeah, obviously she was suffering severely with mental health issues.
Well, I think she identified. I think she identifies he.
Okay, well, I would generally give the courtesy, but I could care less about someone who murders children. I'm sorry. Literally could care less. I shouldn't even say she or he. I should just call it an it, because anyone who could do that to children is not a human being.
Children. Like,
children.
Freaking disgusting.
I mean, to take a life, I mean, I don't even want to.
But like to children, like, or animals, like just
horrible, beyond sickening. And you're right. It's getting to a point where like this is insane. I mean, it was insane after. It should have been insane after the first school shooting. It should have been insane after Columbine or after any of these other major horrible shootings. There needs to be something. Something needs to be going on. You know. Because it's obviously not; these aren't once in a blue moon occurrences.
This is like it goes to the same conversation again, where it's like banning all guns or no our Second Amendment, and it's only two polar opposite sides, and this is just a repeating circle that's never going to get broken until something is actually done.
Right. I was listening to Sam Harris, who I like a lot, who hates Trump, and I really do not like Trump.
Do people like Trump these days?
Right now, yeah, and that's what scares me, because if he runs. I remember being a child, okay, and we grew up in a house that was, let's just say, not.
Pence has to testify in court
against Trump. Okay,
BT Dubs.
We'll see what happens. But when we were children, obviously growing up, to say the least, we were in a non-pro-Obama household.
I always liked him, though. I always did.
But regardless, I mean, I was a kid. What do I know? I'm just listening to what
exactly.
I mean, but at this point, I don't really like him very much either. So it's not like, anyways.
I didn't think he was a great president. I like him.
The point being is, even growing up in that environment and in a Jewish community where a majority of which were Republicans at that time, I never felt the sort of division within like just day-to-day life that I feel now. Like when I'm driving down the highway and I see bumper stickers that are Trump 2020 or they're Democrat or Biden or Biden Harris when the election was going on, I can almost like feel like a palpable tension in the air between like everyone, because everyone's just like
they're wise.
Right, they're on eggshells, like as to like, are you okay? Meaning, are you on my side or are you an enemy and a fascist? Like, are you one of us or are you one of them? And it's like,
but I feel like in the way beginning of it, it was like, that seems like the extreme stance. But like the more that he just said and the more he did and the more kinds of things that he incited within society, it's like you could only excuse things so often.
Right. So Sam Harris, he came under fire because he made a point, which I don't know how crazy it is in retrospect, but he basically said, I don't care what's on Hunter Biden's laptop or what corruption Joe Biden might be involved in. He said it will never come close to the corrupt things we know Trump has done. But more than that, he's just the most narcissistic person that we've probably ever encountered.
But
so
it's also
a person is never going to be for the people when they are physically incapable of caring about anyone else.
That's the thing, is he's for himself. He's not for anybody. Doesn't matter what you are, left, right, anything. He only cares about himself. But it's almost like it's unbelievable. Like, it really got to a point where it was like hard to differentiate whether Alec Baldwin was on SNL or Donald Trump was giving a State of the Union address, because the things that come out of his mouth is just like so normal. Like all I think of is like his PR team or like his team in like behind the scenes, like, please just stick to the freaking script. Just stick to the script. And he can't. Like, he just literally is unable to.
I mean, just to have, and mind you, I didn't vote in the election. I don't think I was here. I wasn't able to register in time. We had to come back from.
I left that country
from Israel.
So
I would have voted. I would have voted, and like Sam Harris said, I agree with a lot of his policy. Let's say, but when it comes,
I would have voted for Britney
as a president. I mean, to have the sitting president deny the outcome of an election, yelling that it was stolen, while at the same time attempting to steal it. But that's the irony. While he's yelling it's stolen, he's literally trying to steal the election back.
But if he won and the other side ever claimed that, oh my God, like people would go ballistic. Like, I didn't like Hillary Clinton, and I think, you know, the Clintons are involved in sketchy things. But at the same time, if she said even like a quarter of the things that ever came out of his mouth during the campaign trail, like, she would have been pummeled. That would have been the end.
So I think it's the desire that people like that sort of anti-establishment rhetoric that Trump has. But if there was a person that was just not a horrible person that also wanted to make a lot of reform in the government and bring a lot more of the people's voice in a real way to the government, that would be great. But if you have someone that is like a comedian and he's definitely funny, I'll give him that. But he's extremely selfish and self-centered and serving his own needs. You're not getting anywhere. But he has a massive following. He also had 70 million people vote for him, and I'm terrified that if he does run, whoever the other Republican candidate is not. He's going to split the vote, and it's going to go nowhere. And Joe Biden's going to get reelected to go back to sleep.
Well, first of all, like, God willing, he will make it through to that day, whenever that is.
I hope so.
Like,
well.
Yeah, he should stay on life support until then. And I just think that it's going to be a disaster, whatever it is. I thought for sure Trump was totally going to, and like now I'm like up in the air, like I have no idea. But like, who's he going up against? Like Ron Santos, who I apologize about saying shit for, and now I'm like, bitch, I'm stepping back from that shit.
No, you're not. Ron DeSantis.
DeSantis.
George Santos and Ron
Thank
DeSantis.
you. DeSantos. I don't even care because they're both assholes for different reasons. So like literally, and the fact that I even apologized for that bitch, like, oh, I take that all back. So sorry, Have a Hope, if you're listening, but definitely not like a fan in any way. He's disgusting. And but who's running for the Democrats? Like, who are they getting? Like,
they're gonna have to run Biden.
Biden was literally like he had to run because otherwise Trump would have won again. Like, they had to throw him in. He was the only one with a chance, and it's gonna happen again. And like, but like people like. Biden's not bad, but he's not good. He's just he's an old man in a nursing home, but the nursing home.
I mean, he is bad because he's not good. He's not really. I feel like he's not in control, and there's other people running the party over there.
Well, I mean, that's how it always is with the president, regardless. But like, you know, in terms of like, you know, certain things, like, you know, even our relationship with the U.S. here in Israel, like, you know, like things are like pretty good. Like, I feel like if Hillary Clinton would have won it, and that's one of the reasons like I couldn't vote for her, is because I don't think that she would have been good for the relationship between America and Israel and what we need here.
Definitely.
No offense, but offense, Hillary. Bye. Send me an email from your private server on your phone.
Right. I mean, they were involved with they were in bed with Jeff Epstein, I believe, the Clintons.
No, not both of them. Just him, and it wasn't
so was
in
Bill
bed with
Gates.
Jeffrey. He wasn't.
Bill Gates was boys with Jeff Epstein.
He wasn't in bed with Jeffrey Epstein. He was in bed with Jeffrey Epstein's like little girls that he had because he's a psychopath. And yes, so was Bill Gates.
Right. You
so
ever you watched the Bill Gates interviews
people.
with him, and like with his ex-wife with Linda, when she talks about it, she said the first time I saw him, I felt something terribly off with him. And she didn't want to. He looks at yes. He looks like a demon because he was. He looks.
No, but I'm saying, like, you know, people could say like, oh, in retrospect, but like, there's something about him. There's just something about him. But that's why they say he didn't kill himself, like, because there were so many high-powered people who were involved with that. And Ghislaine Maxwell
still never released the list. Ghislaine Maxwell, they still never released it. There's no list. Where's the list?
But even her, she claims that that he. I mean, even she said he didn't kill himself. Not that I trust her word in any way, but with that, it's like. No one believes that.
The story behind behind him, not seeing.
Especially because he was already on suicide watch because he
right. It sounds like it's out of a movie the way that they like.
But Prince Andrew wasn't involved. Now he's claiming that the picture with that girl was photoshopped. Bitch.
Really?
Yeah. He's making so many stories. They literally have the original photo was the evidence and everything. He just tries so hard. It's like, bitch, settle down. Like, drown yourself or hide away far away. Like, don't, like, what are you doing? You're just embarrassing yourself.
Right. Mind-boggling.
Yeah. But I'm sure Meghan and Harry will make that about them as well.
Yeah, I saw his book, and I didn't read it. I saw his book in the airport yesterday. I was looking around. I'm assuming it's about his life.
Yeah, no, but there was
what's it called? Spare?
Really spare, because there's the heir and the spare. A king always has to have two sons. The heir and the spare. The heir is the one who's going to take over, but in case he dies, there's the spare, just in case.
So he's the spare.
So, but like there was this like really weird like audio clip from it or whatever going on about this Elizabeth Arden perfume that his mom used to wear, and his Dodger, as he referred to it, was really sore, and someone told him to use this cream that was Elizabeth Arden that he rubbed on his Dodger and thought of his mother. It brought him back in time when he thought of his mother. It is the most uncomfortable, awkward. Yes, it is exactly what you think. It is exactly what you think.
You call it a Chrysler, right? You call it a Dodger.
Right? Seriously.
Or BMW.
A Todger, sorry.
Yeah.
I love it. The first thing, Prince Harry has more to say about his Todger.
Right, because I was thinking about like the artful Dodger, like a Dodger.
Maybe he's just dodging from Elizabeth Arden
like a crafty person, you know.
Right, hon. Literally, you need to like see this. It's crazy.
What, Prince Harry?
Here, I'm putting it in the chat. We could chat. Ooh.
Yeah, I never was really following that whole him and Meghan Markle thing.
Yeah, no, me neither. And I know, like, my friend Chaim, he got like all upset with me, like, don't say anything about Meghan Markle.
Oh, yeah, I think someone Frost Nipistan. Yeah, I don't really understand. I think someone sent me this a while ago. It's pretty wild. I don't even know what was trying to be conveyed there. But right? I can imagine them reading it over again and then thinking it's...
That's what I was just about to say. It's like, you know how they put that in your book and went through all the editing and everything like that, and he said he went through like 90-something edits or something? But then you recorded the audio version, and you were like, yeah, I'm going to keep this in the book.
Right. Right. There had to have been some substances involved in that decision, because I actually started an audiobook yesterday. I started listening. I'm a big fan of David Goggins. I feel like
what are you giving all these shout outs to these podcasts? You make it sound like you're such a well-read.
David Goggins, I did listen to a lot of different people. David Goggins is probably the most motivational person on earth, and he is an absolute monster of a human being. The guy, I mean, I don't even know where to start. He's run 100-mile races without stopping, breaking both of his feet and going into kidney failure, and finished the entire race. The guy ran 8 100-mile runs 8 weekends in a row. He runs like 20 miles a day. Anyways, I started listening to his book, and it's very cool how they did it. Him and his ghostwriter, they both do the audiobook together, and it's almost like a podcast audiobook radio show, which is really great because there's live input, so to speak, about the different parts of the book and tangents and things like that. But I mean, the guy's just an absolute monster of a human being. I mean, he just pushes himself to limits that people don't think are possible. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
This episode of All Brucked Up was sponsored by something,
David
whatever
Goggins,
his name
I
was.
wish.
David Goggins. And HelloFresh.
HelloFresh. Listen, if Goggins wants to get on the podcast, I would literally, I'm good.
And if HelloFresh wants to get in the podcast.
All I need is a glass of seltzer and David Goggins in our podcast.
And all I need is a nice recipe and fresh pre-cut vegetables, and we're good to go.
What is it? What's HelloFresh?
We spoke about this before. They literally send you exactly what you need.
Right.
Exactly what you need. It's like, oh my God. I feel like I should open that up here in Israel.
No one would use that.
HelloFresh. 7-Eleven opens up my office building here in Israel. And I know to Americans who are listening, they're probably like, huh? Unless you're Jewish and you come to Israel and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing because we never had it here and now we have it here. And I was very excited. It's in my office building. I went down, I got a Slurpee. I was very happy. I also bought like one of those, like, you know, those like U2's dolls things or whatever. So they had Slurpee ones. So I bought one of those. And also these metal straws they had. I was going to get these socks too. I'm like, why am I even buying
like people don't drink Slurpees in America. They go to 7-Eleven for other things.
It's funny because I feel like 7-Eleven's more overpriced. I feel like the reason why you go is for Slurpees.
But Jews, I feel like go there for the Slurpees because that's what we always did. It was like the biggest.
But I feel like in Israel,
world.
I feel like Israelis here aren't going to be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And they have a lot of stuff. It happens to be, they do. But it's also like, it's, you know, we have like, you know, makolets, like little groceries here everywhere that I feel like Israelis are just going to like go to see what it is because it's American.
They have great coffee also. I used to get coffee there when I was in Queens. So
yeah, well, now they have like a big machine where you push everything in and it makes it for you. But like they also have the hot dog grillers and everything.
Right.
It's all kosher.
Right. Oh, right. So they have that here in like certain places. I think the one in Muncie, they have that. I think they have one like that here in Lakewood. But yeah, not
But
everything.
the Slurpee machine was like a mini version, and there's two sizes of Slurpee: the small and the medium in America. But here it's a large. I'm like, bitch, this ain't the large. There's supposed to be two more sizes on top of that, so you better not get it twisted. Do you know who I am?
I mean,
they only have them.
That's probably why
Americans are
we
fat.
have an obesity problem and Israel does not.
True. We just have like a judicial reform problem.
I think the UK is, the worst in the world in terms of their obesity rates relative to
In terms of obesity
population.
or in terms of shitty teeth?
In terms of obesity.
Shout out to all my British friends. Love you. And no offense. No, I'm just kidding. I have a lot of British friends. It's like, you know, when people say that, I'm not racist. I have like, you know.
First of all, you usually preface it with no offense. Don't come up with a no offense after.
It's like when people say no homo. Oh, no homo? Okay, so then it's totally right. It's like no offense, but you're like actually disgusting and should probably drop dead. Okay, but you said no offense. Okay, I won't be offended then.
Right.
Yeah, but seriously,
no homo.
guys,
I haven't
like,
heard that term.
go to an orthodontist. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this whole past week for me there's been a lot going on. A lot I've been thinking about, trying to figure out what I wanted to discuss. A few things I wanted to bring up and speak about that are flying off out of my train of thought. Just went sideways. So now I'm trying to.
They're flying out of your train of thought. What are you, a fucking Amtrak train in Ohio?
I had something in my head and then I went somewhere else, and now I'm trying to go back to my original thought process. I'm falling off. I did want to give a shout out and thank everyone who I did see in Chicago who came over, said they give a listen to the podcast, gave some good criticisms and feedback. The constructive criticism.
I know, I was going to say good criticism.
Right. You know, constructive criticism, you know, opening up what topics we should speak about or arguing a bit more, yelling at each other, you know, all the good stuff that people probably want to see.
It's funny. I get that too. People want to see more of the drama.
At the end of the day, you could create fake drama like the rest of the world, but there are definitely things that we disagree about.
Right, but at the end of the day, we both know that I'm always right.
Exactly. I might be a lefty, but I'm always right. That's what I say. Mm-hmm. I am a lefty, by the way. In case anyone was wondering, no one was, but I am in fact left-handed.
I'm a right.
My right arm is stronger, but I write with my left hand.
Right, it's funny. So you know how you have one stronger eye? So my right eye is my dominant eye, but it's my weaker eye in terms of like my prescription and stuff.
I have no idea. So in what ways is it dominant if it's not dominant?
Meaning you...
Because that makes literally no sense.
No, it does. No, when you're looking... No, it's not stronger.
My right eye is more dominant, but I can't see out of it.
It's like, you know, in that Family Guy episode when like the pirate, I can't think of his name right now, like when he puts on like his eye patch, it's like a googly eye, and then Meg freaks out, so I put on another one. Seamus, right?
Oh my goodness!
No, because like you look out of one of your eyes like dominantly, like you look out of one of your eyes more so than the other. Like if you cover your left eye versus like if you cover your right eye, there's one more they look at more. I promise. I think.
I promise. I think. If we can get an optometrist in here just to settle just to settle some fundamental issues for us.
If there's
here.
any hot optometrists out there,
Maybe we
we
can get Dr. Arthur Cohen on here. He could explain the ins and outs of the eye.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Arthur Cohen. Yeah.
So your right eye is better than your left. I mean, I definitely have.
I look out of my right eye more than my left eye, but my left eye is. I mean, my right eye is
So
weaker.
hold on. So when you wake up, does your right eye open first, and then your left eye, and then you come to, or is it? It's like, oh, good morning, everyone. There's like a 5-second delay between your right and left eyes.
Yeah, it's usually like this in the morning, and then
right. I'm pretty sure that's never how it has been for anyone ever.
It's just another thing about me that's unique.
Right. Left-handed, they do say though. I think you use like a different both sides of your brain or a different side.
Yeah,
of your
get
brain.
over yourself. I think it's that you don't use your brain.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely that you don't use your brain if you use.
No, I'm just joking. Otherwise, I'd definitely be left-handed. No, I think it is something like that.
But we both had a teacher in 6th grade. The same teacher. She was Greek and she was born left-handed, but they forced her to write with her right hand because it was considered like a flaw.
Anything. Again, to reference Family Guy, it's like, oh, you're black, you must go to the mental asylum. And then it's like, oh, you're gay, you need to go to the mental asylum. And then Quagmire comes up. You have any hot underage girls in there? He's like, oh, yeah, of course, I'll take you there. Because everything back in the day, anything that made you slightly different,
Right.
That's how Hitler was also. Anything that was different or Jewish.
That was different or Jewish. They actually thought, I think we mentioned this last time, they believed they were the descendants of the people of Atlantis, the Aryan race. They had a division of his government or whatever was dedicated to like searching some of the old documents.
Like Atlantis, like the Lost Island?
Of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they also did a lot. I just burped again. I always do this. But they also did a lot of drugs. Like a lot of drugs.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Hitler must have been on cocaine or something. He was, yeah, you had 100%. 100%. I was having this discussion. It's funny, yesterday I was having this discussion with someone because I was watching on the subject of substance abuse because I was watching. I'm a big MMA fan. And one of the biggest fights happened a couple of weeks ago between John Jones, probably the greatest fighter of all time. Because he came back after 3 years. I think he was suspended because they found like a substance in his. He had the first time he tested positive for cocaine, and then I think he had some drug in his system. But then it opened up a conversation because they said like a bunch of fighters said everyone in the UFC is on steroids. Everyone takes something.
They all do. But
they do get tested. But certain things.
So there was like this whole documentary, and they like know exactly how much to do where it won't get tested or like blah blah. They like there's so many other alternatives to what they're testing for. Like you don't just like test for it and everything shows up. It's like when you're doing a drug test, they have to be looking for a specific drug and run it against that. It doesn't just pull up. Oh, there's all this in the system. You have to be running the test for those drugs. So if there's certain newer drugs or newer compounds that aren't in the system yet, they're not going to show up.
Right. I remember when I used to be big into working out. Because again, I'm a
professional doctor.
Right. Don't take any of our medical advice. I used to be I used to work out a lot in high school, lifting. And so one of the supplements that we used to take back in the day was called Jacked 3D. And I remember when I was in high school, I think it got 3D. Banned. It got banned, and that's what it's called. And they had to reproduce it because there was a drug in there called DMAA, which was basically like legal steroids essentially, not to the same extent as like taking tren or like taking hardcore steroids, but it was definitely a substance that's banned. It's banned in the Olympics, DMAA. So it's. I mean, you felt great after taking it. I'll tell you that your workouts. So
I don't really have friends that I know that do steroids, like outwardly that I know. But I do have a lot of friends who take testosterone.
I've taken steroids. I'll admit that right now. I've taken steroids. I took steroids
like
one time in my life, and I didn't do anything with it, and I completely wasted God knows how much money on it. Barely even worked out. One time in your life,
it's not going to do one. Yeah, I was going to say.
No, I didn't take it once and then go on. I had I had these little things. It was like I forgot what it was called. It was like one of the more basic ones. I don't even know what it was. It could have been I was just taking God knows
I was just
what
going to
from
say,
this
right?
random dude.
Or
I was a little
Advil,
kid.
cold and sinus.
I was a little kid.
Because when you're in high school and stuff, you think it's like cool. You have no idea what the hell you're doing, or what you're taking, or where you're getting at.
Right, and you see these guys at the gym that are just absolute monsters. Just
and everyone's
huge.
like, "Oh, well, they're on steroids. They're on steroids." I'm saying,
right, as if it's easy to get that big just by taking steroids, or just
right,
they all work out probably more than the people that don't take steroids.
Right, meaning it's like it's definitely going to help a lot, but you have to still put in all that work.
I mean, one of the main things it just allows you to recover a lot faster.
Yeah.
And
so
that's
a lot of people are taking testosterone,
thing.
And then I'm like, I kind of want to do that, but I don't know if I could get like the things here. But
Joe Rogan is open
really
about it. He does testosterone replacement.
Speaking of Joe
TRT.
Rogan, okay, I just discovered today. I don't know how the hell it took me so long. He was the host of Fear Factor.
How did you not know that? That's where I first knew him from.
I have no idea. And then my YouTube videos were playing in the background as I was working, and then Fear Factor thing came on, and they said Joe Rogan. I was like, and then I looked at the screen, I was like, oh my god.
That's where That's when I first started. I've been a Joe Rogan fan since Fear Factor.
Well, I guess fear is not a factor for you.
Because I remember, Joe Rogan, besides being a UFC commentator, has been training in martial arts for 40 years.
Oh wow, so, he's like dad.
So there's a video on YouTube. I think it's called Joe Rogan's kicks sound like gunshots. I mean, he's terrifying. But I remember when he was on Fear Factor, one of the episodes, this couple, they were just yelling at each other the whole time during a challenge, and one guy
was it the buffalo testicle one?
No, and another guy was trying to was instigating them to fight with each other because he knew he'd get in their heads and they would lose. And when they came out of the challenge, his wife punched that guy in the stomach, and Joe was like, "You can't just walk up to people and punch them. What do you think you're doing?" And then her husband got in Joe's face and I'm thinking to myself what are you going to do when you are just a regular adult male against a man who's been training at the highest levels of martial arts for 20 years?
Yeah, you're not going to do shit.
You're not doing anything, my guy. You're not doing anything.
There's a mosquito, and this is the one that killed me last night.
Get him.
I did. Got
There
it.
you go.
You're gone.
Don't let him get a taste.
Sorry, Peter, if you're watching. Yeah.
Shalom.
I was wondering, because I got on my leg last night, and I'm like, no, bitch, we ain't doing that again. We got to go. You got to go.
Listen, I took martial arts as a kid a little bit. We both did Taekwondo, obviously, for a little bit, and then we did Krav Maga. But I really think it helps with self-confidence and insecurity when you feel like, to a certain extent, you have.
I don't need any of that because my self-confidence is just beaming, and my insecurities, I only have securities. Right,
but imagine.
I can't.
If any person, a regular person that's in a scenario surrounded by a bunch of people does not feel secure enough to be able to defend themselves in a
that's the thing is I'm not to do my own horn going off what I was just joking about, but I do work out a lot. But for me, it's really more from a mental health than anything else. I do CrossFit, and so I can lift a lot, and I am very strong, but I don't know martial arts or anything. So if I ever do go up against someone who, does know Krav Maga or anything like that, I'd still be screwed.
That's why I love watching, probably my favorite boxer of all time is Tyson Fury, known as the Gypsy King. He's Gypsy, he's from Ireland. And he's 6'9".
Gypsy apparently is also now an offensive term.
From who said that? What does that mean?
I just heard that recently. It is now is one of those triggers.
I don't even see. Regardless, the reason I love him is because he doesn't look. If you look at it, you could Google him or YouTube Tyson Fury. He has love handles. He has a lot of fat around his belly. He does not look in shape. He's 6'9", I don't know, 250 pounds, and he's probably one of the greatest heavyweight fighters of all time, and his greatest fight was against a guy, Deontay Wilder, who's 6'7", shredded. I'm talking about just completely shredded, and probably has the hardest hitting punches of anyone ever. And to see them together, and they both have opposite body frames, and Tyson pretty much destroyed him 3 different times in 3 different fights, and he would get hit. In one of the fights, he finally got hit, fell down. Wilder thought the fight was over. It was like the 12th round, and then you see Fury's eyes just pop open. He gets back up, and then proceeded to just go nuts for the rest of the round. But he's also very motivational. He's been through a lot of difficult things. He struggled with mental health. He's donated a lot of money. His first purse from the first fight, he donated the entire thing to charity.
His first purse?
It's called a purse from the prize money.
What is it like? Does he have like a little Hermes Birkin bag?
Exactly. At the end of the fight, they come
a little Kelly
with a Birkin. Exactly. It's crazy.
I would join the MMA if I were to get a Kelly bag.
Listen,
that's my thing.
If you think about it, boxers make way more money, like the main event boxers than the main event UFC fighters do. So much so that the first guy, one of the guys who fought Jake Paul, I forgot his name, he was a retired MMA fighter, said he made more from his 2 Jake Paul fights than he made in his entire career in the UFC. So...
Our world is so doomed.
But boxing is, it's bigger. MMA is getting much bigger, and it's going to.
What about all these slapping fights?
Those are crazy.
CTA or
those are
CT or whatever.
Crazy.
Psycho, and they all have cauliflower ears.
Cauliflower ear they keep intentionally as a badge of honor because you can get rid of it. You cannot.
You need surgery, and why get
no?
A surgery?
But before it happens, you could. I think there's things you could do, but most of them like it because it's like a badge of honor. It actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Wanderlei Silva who. Wanderlei Silva.
Wanderlei Silva?
No, Wanderlei Silva. He's known as the Axe Murderer, one of the baddest guys in the UFC.
Oh, I love Axe Murderers.
Chael Sonnen said he's the first guy to have cauliflower face, and I erupted in laughter. It was one of the greatest. That's what these businesses are about. So much of it is the entertainment, and that's why Conor McGregor, for example, became everyone knows who he is, even if you weren't an MMA fan, because he was so. I know who he is,
right?
Exactly, he was so outlandish and so wild. But in his final fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov, who retired and is probably the best of all time, had he not retired, he was in his prime. But he was trash talking him, and Khabib was never like that, and he took it personally in a lot. And the night before their fight at the press conference was probably the scariest thing ever. Conor's all hyped up. He does his conference interview with Joe Rogan. Then he goes to Khabib, who's a devout Muslim, and he's wearing his hat. And he goes, Alhamdulillah, tomorrow night I'm going to smash your boy. And he just has this smirk on his face. And mind you, everyone, including Dana, including everyone in the world, thought that Conor would take him out. Tomorrow night I'm going to smash your boy. And as he's on top of Conor, about to end the fight, pounding him, he's yelling at him, let's talk now. You want to talk now? Let's talk now. Just beating on him, and then right when the bell rings, you hear Conor say, "It's just business, only business." But Khabib was not, and right after he choked him out to end the fight, he jumped over the wall of the octagon and attacked Conor's one of his trainers. Because at the end of the day,
is it legit real or
that was
is
real?
It also?
Yes.
It's not you don't think it's producers.
No, Dana came out after. He was super upset. He wouldn't even put the belt on him. It was a title match. It was the first time he didn't put a belt on the champion. Made him go back to his room. He got fined. Sure, but again, Conor's job is to amp up the fight. The reason he was the money fight, the reason those fights bring so much more money, is because it's exciting when you hear this guy talk himself up so much. Like the Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor boxing match, and Conor's not even a boxer, was the second highest pay-per-view selling event of all time. Because they're both the kings of trash talk, and they're at the top of their game when it comes to. They could just promote themselves so well. That's what the industry is about now. In so many places, it's about entertainment. It's about how good of an entertainer you are, not necessarily the talent you have, although he was very talented.
Well, I guess if this podcast doesn't work out, then we could just go into fighting and just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah. Well, they have that. There's a movie we saw years ago, Warrior, with 2 brothers who are MMA fighters, and then they end up fighting each other.
We saw this movie, or you saw this movie?
I probably saw this movie. It was with Tom Hardy and another guy. Tom Hardy's great. He's like an actual fighter. He just won a tournament that no one knew about. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it came out after he literally won the tournament. So like
That's cool.
a lot of these guys are. I mean, it's serious. Like these guys, like it's like a different level of.
I feel like it's such a bro culture, though. It's like trying to show who's the manliest, who's the most
but they have.
self-rude.
But most of them have so much respect for each other, and like right after the fight ends, you'll see them walk over and hug each other. A lot of the times, right afterwards.
Yeah, that's to make sure that the sponsors continue paying.
No, to literally just to. I mean, some guys are ruthless, and like for example, one thing that always kind
I'm
of.
not a fighter,
me,
though.
So there's one argument I always see is a lot of times someone will get knocked out and the guy will jump on him and keep going until the ref pulls him off, because that's really everyone said, well, your job is to keep going until the ref
Once
stops.
you're down, you're down. Yeah.
But in boxing, you can't hit someone on the ground. But some guys, once they see a guy get clocked out and hit the ground, they're not going to jump on him and keep going because they know he's out. Other guys will just keep. They'll keep at it. But a lot of the time you see a lot of respect. You see a lot of, because they know that everyone's is putting in an insane amount of work, years of training, tons of discipline. It's a lot. And then to lose, and sometimes these losses happen in a minute. You train for months, you get in the ring, and the fight's over in a minute and a half.
Totally. I mean, all I want to do is American Ninja Warrior. And but I'm always nervous, like, what if I'm that person who's like 30 seconds in? But there was this like Ninja Warrior gym that I did go to, and I was so proud of myself because I did really good. And like there were also these little kids there, but they were on like the smaller like little kids ninja thing, and they were all cheering me on. My like the last part that was really hard, and I did not think I was gonna be able to do it, and I did, and they were all freaking out, and I felt like, oh my God, I'm amazing, even though they literally were probably 11 and 12, and they were all like freaking out, and I have no idea who these kids are, but I felt so cool. I was like, oh my God.
I used to watch the original Ninja Warrior. I think it's Japanese, before they even had the American Ninja Warrior when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I remember I'm pretty sure there was a from woman on American Ninja Warrior who made it through like a few rounds. I forgot her name. She's like a marathon runner. Yep. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
People like some of those obstacles, the amount of strength it takes, especially with like finger gripping.
Not even normal. Totally, but also, and it's just like your muscles don't have time to rest in between each thing.
Yep.
So, and it's like you're working out your whole body, and they don't have time to recover, and it's like constant, and like that's the thing, the amount of strength you have to have, and like that's the thing also. That's why a lot of the people who do really well are the ones who are a little shorter and super muscular because their body's not as heavy, so they're able to do things better. But then also things in terms of like the wall at the end to climb to the top. It's harder for them. So it's like there's always like there's pros and cons with no matter how tall you are, how short you are. Like,
right.
It's
that's
intense.
Also and things like that. It's a lot of calisthenics training. You need a lot of strength. I mean, you're utilizing every part of your body. You're moving through the craziest obstacles, and it's like you said, one after the other.
It's basically me at the grocery store. I'm just like I'm going through all the different aisles, running to grab the cereal,
surfing down the shopping cart. Exactly.
Seriously,
throwing
the old ladies like over so I get in line first. Like, I don't care if you're buying one thing. I'm getting in that line, bitch.
I just saw someone wrote on a YouTube video. It was an interview with John Danaher, who's one of the foremost experts and coaches in jiu-jitsu. And someone at the top comment was like, I saw these two guys attacking this old lady once, and I felt like I should get involved. With my years of experience, I felt there was no way she could take us 1v3. And I was like, oh my dear Lord. But there definitely is a massive boost in self-confidence for children. I think it's super valuable. I remember when I was in high school and I was doing a Krav Maga every day after school. I'd come home, even though I wasn't obviously fighting people, but I definitely felt more confident in myself.
Right, you're like, start with me, bitch. Like I
was always out of I was talking to Shragi today, one of my best friends. Shout out Shragi, I love you very much. We were speaking about this.
Still waiting for you to come on the podcast
today. Shragi, besides being a great guy, also has lost an absurd amount of weight and has gotten in phenomenal shape, and now he lives in. So we were talking about these types of things, but I told him I remember so clearly being in 6th grade wearing my black tank top and like looking at myself in the mirror in my room, and I would look at myself in the mirror after I went to the gym each time because I thought that my body would change after a single day, each day. But I remember feeling like I felt a little bit uncomfortable in my own skin. I was getting husky at that point when Mom started telling the guy at the suit store that I needed a husky size, I'm
right.
out.
I know that totally. Went through the same thing.
Send me into a down
husky,
downspin.
literally, like
A
unless you're
downward
talking about
spiral.
the dog or husky, like just
Exactly.
shoot me dead, Joe.
Right.
Thank you.
Like, you couldn't have thought of a better term than to refer to me as a husky
Right?
child. You know,
Literally, like, did you want to just inflict trauma on us for the rest of our
I
lives?
just imagine like a bulbous, furry humanoid whenever I hear the term
Right,
husky.
Augustus Gloop. That's all I ever
Augustus
thought of.
Gloop,
Augustus Gloop. That's all I ever thought of when I heard husky. I'm like,
But it definitely
shit, I'm
was.
Augustus.
But it was. I did utilize it at that time as a big motivator to start, going to the gym. It was hard also when you have friends or other people who progress much faster or who can put on muscle much faster or who
But
have
the
an
people
easier
who are
time losing
naturally
weight.
thin, so their definition is like they see it sooner, and then you're like,
Right, but for a lot of those people who are very thin, it's super difficult to put on muscle unless you like force feed yourself a ton of food.
that was me in Bar Ilan with Adam Soleimani. Shout out Adam Soleimani. I'd be like eating chocolate cake like every day, and he'd be like, "Oh, I have to force myself to eat something because I need to gain weight." And I'm like, "Bitch, I will destroy you, destroy you."
I can
If
eat
you want to do
right
some
now.
sort of like fat transfer, I'll just send it on over. Like, don't even force feed yourself.
Right.
Like,
No, but there
don't even-
definitely is, I feel like people that struggle with being very thin, it is a thing. It is a real thing,
It is, but luckily I'm making it through.
But yeah, because I was talking to my wife yesterday about how, it would be great for the kids to get involved in some sort of, in like a Taekwondo class or like a,
Hold on. How old are your twins? Your oldest children?
they're turning 5 in May.
Yeah, I know. What Taekwondo class are you putting them into?
You could start at 5.
Really?
Sure.
What are they going to be in kindergarten or pre-1A as you have in New York?
No,
New
here,
Jersey,
yeah,
or-
here they call it primary or primer.
Primary?
Or primer. I never heard of these terms until I moved to the tri-state area. We just had pre-nursery, nursery, kindergarten, first grade. But in New York, New Jersey, there's pre-1A. There's like I never knew what that meant or where that went in the tier.
Pre-1A is before first grade.
1A.
So that
Before
was kindergarten.
1A. Right. Yeah, but you could start real. I mean, listen, kids absorb things like sponges. So anything you can teach a child at an early age is gonna, they'll just drink it in. I mean, my oldest son, for example, his memory, thank God, is like he remembers. Like he could read a book to himself, just remembering all the words in the book. Which is great because now we don't have to read him every single book. He can kind of sit down on the couch and just look through all the pictures and the story.
Well, he'll be good at studying for tests. He'll just remember
Right.
everything.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I wish I would have probably utilized more of my time back then to get serious in certain things, because then you wake up at one, and you're like, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. Like me and you, we got piano lessons. Had we stuck with that till now, we'd probably be insanely good pianists.
I mean, I did stick with it longer than you, so I'm just saying. But I was also shipped off to boarding school, which is why I had to stop.
Right. I mean, I did stick with music. I played the drums for like 6 or 7 years. I had lessons for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Stuck with the drums. Then I started fiddling around. Like in Israel, I picked up the ukulele first, but that was just more like playing around. Then I bought a mandolin, and I was actually playing the mandolin for a little while. My roommate in Israel, my third year there, is great on the mandolin. Shalom, his name's Shalom. Shout out Shalom. And then I went to the guitar, but everyone plays acoustic guitar, so I never really felt so motivated to really learn anything past basic things. And the drums is great. I love it. It's my favorite instrument, and I'm getting back into it now. But you just can't bring a drum set with you. Like you can't pick one up and move it around so easily. It's got to be the hardest thing in any band to have to pack up the drums and the suitcases and loading them up. There's so much, the hardware. So I would like to get an electric drum set. If anyone wants to sponsor Roland, if you're listening, you want to sponsor your TKV50 or whatever. It's like a $5,000 set of drums.
Not to be specific.
But if you're trying to give away a quick electronic drum set to someone who will utilize it, your guy.
And if Roland wants to do a partnership with HelloFresh, I'm going to get a twofer. I'm totally for that too, because they still want the freaking food.
Right.
I'm still on this food, but your drum set's great.
Right. Okay. Listen. On that note, I just realized the time. We went a little bit
Totally.
over time.
But I also love that every single time you end, you always say, and on that note. That's
On
like your
that note.
closing line.
My closing line. I actually have to pick up my kids from school soon. Very exciting.
Oh, yeah. I got to go grab my kids also.
We do have God willing, not to be announced, but we do have a couple of guests lined up for some upcoming episodes. Maybe one before the holidays. Upcoming is Pesach/Passover.
Possibly next week.
And then possibly next week, and then hopefully after Passover we'll have, or after Pesach we'll have another guest, a few guests. So keep everyone posted on that. But like I said before, just happy and appreciate all the support and feedback from everybody. We love you all and appreciate you very much. And
stay tuned, bitches.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.